So Chris once told me that you're becoming a better trader when you're critiquing winning trades. And that's exactly what I'm about to do here. So basically today, I hadn't taken any trades all morning, and then finally ACW um, gave me what I was looking for, so I took it. And you can see why I took it, maybe on the daily here. It was just a nice consolidating pattern on the daily chart. So I was looking for a break of this pretty much technical pattern right here. So basically, this opened above yesterday's close, which was at the breakout point. I was looking for this 575-ish area here. I wanted to see it at or above that point. So when I saw it open above that area, I was eyeing this thing all morning, basically stalking it to get a good entry on it. And so what I did was I went ahead and entered on an intraday break right here. Took a while for it to set up, but if I would have missed it, I would have really been kicking myself. So I just kept my eye on it all morning and didn't really focus on too much else because I was thinking if this was going to become a breakout, then this could be a big one because this consolidating pattern, it's been consolidating for a while here ever since March is when it started to develop. So I knew this could be a big breakout day for this chart, and so I entered mostly a full position. And what I did was I actually added right here once it confirmed that it had enough strength. See this nice triangle here? I really liked how this was holding. So once it broke the high of the day, I went ahead and I entered my full position. But I actually ended up adding once this strength was confirmed. I wanted to have another part just so I could maybe hold it as a runner, or I just wanted a little bit more on there because I thought if this was going to become a big breakout day, I wanted to be in a little bit heavier than I normally would. So I was in full, and let me just explain why I'm doing this video. Basically, um, I'm trying to work on being able to hold my positions and let my runners run. Not necessarily holding my full position all day, but I would at least like to try to have part of my position on the table so that in case it does want to become a big breakout day like it is right now, you can see this is a big green candle above this breakout point. So this is a perfect technical breakout. I couldn't have asked for it to be any better. And basically, I started scaling out. I was having a really hard time pulling a target. So that's kind of where I think part of my fault with the way I managed it was because I was having a hard time figuring out where it was going to go. And because you could see, I mean, it had plenty of room. It could have made it up to the 620s today. For all I knew, I didn't know what it was going to do. So I went ahead and kind of used this little trick that Chris taught me where I picked a few days. I picked yesterday's range and I drew a little triangle or a little rectangle to kind of measure that move. And yesterday's volume was, almost half a million. We're already we're already at yesterday's volume for so that's this is pretty comparable, the range. So I also pulled this day, which was the 1st of July, which I noticed it had a big green candle, so it had a lot of range on very low volume compared to bigger volume days like on these couple of days. These had more volume. So I just pulled these triangles and tried to get a measurement of what I could expect this candle, this breakout candle to give me. And this is what I was getting. So my thought was, well, okay, this thing could get up to the 610s. That's kind of an average between the between the two rectangles. So that was kind of my longer term target, was around 610. I was getting a bunch of confluence around 630, but it just didn't seem realistic with the volume for it to get up there. So, 6 was my first area that I was looking to actually take profit because there were, heavy sellers were coming in, and I didn't want to risk it being the top. So I went ahead, and you can see I got some out at the high of this bar. And then I was thinking, well, what if that's the top? So I went ahead and started squeezing another part of my position here. And and then so I was pretty much all out except for like, my last very small part of my position, maybe a quarter of my position. So I originally had my stop, and this is where I'm going to start criticizing myself because I originally had my stop behind it had a really hard time with this 93 level. You can see here it had resistance at 93, finally popped through it. That's when I knew I was in the clear. This thing was seller heavy throughout this whole part right here, on the level 2, of course. And obviously you have to be able to tell what's manipulation and what's not. And if it broke through this level, I knew that we could just be seeing level 2 manipulation because the sellers were so heavy for a moment there I was wondering if this thing was ever going to go. So finally we ended up getting the pop through this 93 level, and once it started running, I could use that 93 level as a retest point. And so I had my stop at 91, and that's where it should have stayed. This was just a very small part of my position. I was mostly out of my whole mostly out of all of my shares. So, you know, I really should have stuck to my plan and let this potentially retest the 93 level that it struggled with so much, and then just left it on for a runner just in case it wanted to hit. I had this 610 number in my head all day, and it drives me nuts that it actually hit it, or what 1 cent from it. But I didn't really manage it to maximize the whole move. So this was really my mistake by not expecting this retest and then expect buyers to come in and push this thing a little bit higher, and that's where the real breakout comes. So just a little, lesson, and the same thing happened yesterday with SUNE. This is one that Chris took yesterday, and we, he was managing it, so I'm just gonna pretty much say that I'm not gonna take responsibility for this, but basically, we should have, or he should have, let this retest. Where is it? Okay, sorry. Basically, you can see this one is a perfect example of why you should give, stocks room to specific, highly probable retest areas. Because this one, you could see that this breakout point was around the 918 level. What did this thing do? It retested 918, and then it's just ran for the moon. So these are really good lessons as to why you should follow your rules and you should not jump the gun on your stop. It's nice to be able to minimize risk, but at the same time, you have to give something room if you anticipate it to do something, like in this case a breakout. So basically, just be aware of these retest points and don't let this shake you out. I mean, of a trade that could have been a very good trade. It's like if you're not going to let it retest, then you might as well just not be in the trade at all.